Hey everybody. So, today I'm going to be talking about my review on Moss. Um, so I played it all the way through, and there's some good points and some bad points, and I'm going to talk about a little bit of each of them. So, for the good points, let's go through those first. It was a great story. Um, it had, well, your story was that the main character of the game is kind of a combination of you and Quill, the mouse. Um, she finds a enchanted piece of glass, and it has the ability for her to see you, the player. Um, so you're like one of the actual main characters of the story, and they involve you in that, and that makes it like seem really personal to you, and you feel like you want to, like you're drawn into it more. Um, the rest of the game is basically um, finding and saving her uncle, Quill's uncle, and there's only a few levels, but most of those levels have good puzzles. Um, it's more of a puzzle game than it's got this combination of like side scroller and side scroller. Yeah, it's a side scroller game basically for VR, and it's a puzzle slash adventure game. Uh, Adventure meaning fighting. They don't really have too much fighting. It's more puzzle and jumping and uh, oh man, all that kind of stuff. So I figure yeah, no, but I liked what they did with it. There's also some side quests you can do. Um, you, there was the side quest of um, going into the portal, finding the portals, and doing the side quest for becoming the rightful champion of the Elvish glass. I guess. Uh, Not really sure if it's glass for the Elvish people or fairy folk or whatever they have there. It's kind of a difficult thing to differentiate in that world. So got that. The side quests, yeah, no, but the side quests are really awesome. It's like most side quests, you don't need to do them, but I haven't seen a VR game where they actually put side quests in like that. Most of it's just you got to go here, do this, whatever. Um, but this one, it kind of leads you off in a way from the main quest, and you kind of look for the gates, um, because they're in places where normally you'd kind of pass by, but you can kind of see them with their green speck glow if you look for them, if you know what you're looking for. Um, but side quests were good. They actually gave you actual stuff to use. Let's see, there's the armor, which gives you, I think, an extra hit. The sword, which fire, um, allows you to fire your shots, magical shot or something after you charge it. And then the last one, I am not sure. I think it makes your attacks more powerful, but don't quote me on that. I never really read into it, because it was there. It was kind of cool of a story. Um, and spoiler alert: if you complete the side quest, you figure out that the elf slash fairy folk before you that had the glass is kind of a spirit, and it's passing it on to you, onto Quill, so that way Quill can be the rightful owner of it. And I actually found that pretty cool. Um, so, side quests, the puzzles. Let's talk about the puzzles for a second. Most of the puzzles are, I don't want to say they're they're neither hard nor easy. In the beginning, they're kind of easy because you're just trying to get into into what it is to be in this game, because VR is very difficult to do. So they tried to make it a little bit easier on you. But as the story progresses, the puzzles get a way bit harder. Yeah, they get a lot more harder. So it's like a progression, and I like that in a game where it kind of, once you know the basics and you get the basics down, then they build on that, and that's what that game did. Um, for some of the puzzles, you gotta move levers and do stuff, and in a certain order. Well, no, first you gotta move stuff with the levers and stuff in the beginning, and then they progress to you gotta do it in a certain order, or else you can't get to places. And then they progress even further to where you've got to do things in other rooms in order to unlock it and stuff like that. So it's pretty intense with at the end for figuring out puzzles and stuff. Um, so let's get to some of the bad points. They need better controls of it. So the main problem I had was that the controls were, I don't know if it was software. I'm pretty sure it was software related, where they didn't, the controls were set up kind of weird, where I think it orientates you to where you are in the room, and then the joystick changes where it's supposed to be, um, based on that. And I didn't like that. The way they did it did not work out so well. I kept falling off, especially near the end, where um, a lot of a lot of the fighting, the action, you had to be precise, and so it was kind of bad when I jumped. The other thing is I kept falling off when I was charging the attack blade. The attack blade, you gotta stand. You gotta uh, do your basic attack, and then you press a trigger and pull up on the on it on the sword. And when I did that, um, there was a lot of times where it just the the thrusting of the sword or whatever just pushed me off a cliff. So I got to question whether they figured that out or not. The sword that charges, though, is like I said before, a side quest item. So maybe they didn't do too much testing on that. I'm not sure. Um, but that's all right. Uh, Another thing for the controls is the joystick. Well, when you shoot, um, not only for the charging up of the blade, it caused me to fall off a few times. When after you charge, when you shoot, it's not really precise. Um, they kind of made it to where it's like was it every 45-degree angle or something. And if you're not and if you're like in between, between like each 45-degree angles, like, it's just straightforward. Then there's like in between straightforward and left. Then there's left. That's the way they did it for this one, from what I can see. And there's no really like precise, like in between those degrees. And I kept on missing for whatever reason that was. Um, so let's jump back to something good. The scenery, that was amazing. Um, it was so great. Um, the castles, the models, the interactions with everything, like you could see everything. It was like looking in a terrarium, in a terrarium or something, where you had like the wall of glass or something, and you could just see into it. But you could interact with it too. It was really weird, and I like that. I actually like that because VR brought it into my house. Um, Especially when I was like near the end of some levels where you defeat a boss or something, do something great, where you just high five the main character, and I'm like, that's amazing. That was a highlight of every time I beat one of the one of the bosses or boss fight or end of a level or something. That's what I liked. That was so cute, and when she gave me a high five, did a dance or something, then asked for another high five and continued the dance or whatever. And that was great. Um, so that was really good. Um, the only thing is that those scenes were kind of amazing, and it's just like it's so much to take in. They had so much detail. That's kind of why I stopped going from bad things into this good thing, is because there's just so much there that I think you need to replay the game at least once or twice to actually see all the things that are happening when you defeat a boss or you're in this level or whatever, what have you. When action scenes come, there's just so much to take in, and that's kind of a bad thing. Not but because if you're just playing through it once and you don't see certain little things, but that's also for replayability. Um, so next is we're going back to the bad stuff. Is the ending? Um, I don't think they handled the ending appropriately. I don't think they handled the ending appropriately. Um, the problem with the ending was that it led to something bigger. It was trying to lead up to the second game. And if the second game was out, I would have bought it and I would have immediately played through it. But because of the fact that the second game isn't out and it's going to be a while before they release it, it's just it's just a really bad tease. Because I can't wait for it. It's like, okay, the ending was it was partially a good ending. You rescue your uncle. That was the whole main plot of the thing, and you get it done. You rescue your uncle. You're good. Um, but then he says something like, "Oh, your journey's just beginning. Did you really think there was only one big bad guy or something?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." and then cut to black, and and you're just like, what? You said there was more bad guys, and you're just like, no, 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 turn it back on, turn it back on, keep going, and then there's nothing. It's just like, oh. So if they didn't mention anything else that was bad and just picked that from that scene up in the next game, then I could see that being myself being a little bit less disappointed. Um, the game is only like 6 hours long. How long did it take? 6 to 8 hours, somewhere around there. Moss. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And yes, a little bit less than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About 6 hours. Yeah, about 6 hours long. And so, I mean, for a VR game, that's great because the time thing, they were just pushing out something that again needed polishing. That technology, the VR game setup, a lot of people don't have the room. Again, it's a brand new technology, and so they took a risk in making this game, but it paid off for them, I think, because it's a great game. They have a sequel coming, and I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna rate this game a 7.5, or actually, yeah, 7.5 or an 8. The reason I do that is because of replayability. This game can be replayed. Something I normally don't say. You can replay this game because of the way it was made. Because there's just so much in this world, that it's just amazing. Moss was a great game, and I can't wait for there to be a Moss 2, or for them to I don't know what they're gonna do with it, honestly, but they did good here, except for the ending. I could have been okay with it except for the ending, where there was, hey, there's more big bad guys out there, and then cut to black. I'm like, no, that was the thing. I beat the final boss, and then hey, there's a bigger boss in another castle somewhere. It's like Mario. Jeez. Except I need to wait for the next game to come out instead of going to the next castle. Um, but I hope they really do well on the next one. So, anyways, I think I think we did pretty well for this review. Yeah. So go buy Moss, play it, and yeah, that's my recommendation. Is just go and play it. This is something that you should spend your money on. I haven't said that about any other game yet. Of course, I've only done like 3 playthroughs. And spoiler alert, I just finished Cubeman, and that one I'm not gonna recommend to anybody. Well, between their servers being almost dead and the fact that it's kind of an easy game, It's just there to kill time. Eh. But this one, go buy it. Go pick it up. I know it's from 2018, but it still holds up. It's still a great game. It has so much to offer you. And I think they did something really well with the VR platform. And with that, have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.